Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Bally's Casino and Sportsbook, downtown Baton Rouge. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro. Jordan Kitchens back in the studio. Colucci's supposed to join us here in half an hour. I don't know after Montreal got absolutely smoked last night what kind of mood he's going to be in. But
he's got a Golden Knights jersey.
Yeah. Oh, he's already.
He'll flop.
Moving over. Henry Hayes with us. NBA tonight, Game 6, Spurs and the Thunder, and also the new draft lottery stuff going to be voted on today, expected to pass with the new 3-2-1. Scott Rabley with us from the SEC meetings. We've got an NCAA baseball preview that we're going to do in hour number 2. We have kind of gone as much in depth as we can. You know, these coaches don't like to reveal a whole lot of information, but we'll try to give you best read. Some of them have been announced, some of them haven't, on who's holding aces tomorrow and who's throwing aces tomorrow. We'll give you that, kind of guide you a little bit with some of your picks.
Charlie, 1 to 32 seeded though, right?
1 to 32 seed, first time of that. So the 2 seeds are more accurately placed.
Oregon State just fell that way?
Yeah. You know, they gave them a 4 it wasn't like the top 2 seed went to the last 32. They gave you a 4-team window. So they're still doing a little bit of geography. In other words, the number 1 team, UCLA, got one of the bottom 4 twos. They didn't necessarily get the last rated number 2. You see what I'm saying?
Wait, who?
Okay, UCLA is the number 1 seed.
Right.
Okay, so they didn't necessarily get the last.
Well,
number
who's their number 2?
Their number
UCLA.
Number 2 seed was Virginia Tech. Okay.
So they're not 32?
Well, they are, but they didn't have to be. They could have took 32, 31, 30, or 29.
So they give them a 4-team range.
Range, yes.
So okay.
To help out a little bit with the geography. So yeah.
Okay.
So it's pretty close. It's better. It's not perfect, but it's
but
better.
You can't. But at least.
You're not going to get.
See,
I
didn't know. Well, it's not a true 1 to 32. It's
right.
a 1 to 32, and then it gives it a 4. It's better than. You know, if Oregon was the number 2 overall seed and Oregon State is, 17 or 18.
Right.
Well, they're close. Let's just put them here, as they've done, in the past. There was some luck of the draw on how strong a number 2. USC, huh? Top 10 RPI?
Yeah.
And number 2 seed.
Yeah. They had one quad 1 win. That was the big thing on them. One quad 1 win the whole year. And so they were 1-11.
Nebraska on the road, wasn't there, hosting? Nebraska, no neutral?
Nebraska
in the Big Ten tournament?
Nebraska won 9 Q1
No, Nebraska
games.
was not a Q1 win?
That's the only one.
Oh, that's it?
That's it. That's it. They were 1-11 in Q1 games.
Wow. I guess that 1 out away cost them a number 1 seed. They beat UCLA and then, play in the finals, and that would have. For a team that was RPI, not RPI need, but quality win need. I mean, you beat UCLA in the semifinals of the Big Ten tournament on neutral. That would have been a big one.
Yeah, they
1 out away. I tell you what, I watched them. I watched them at Oregon. That series, up in Eugene. A lot of people respecting Oregon. They went to extra innings against UCLA. They beat what's name soundly in the semis. Nebraska. It's quasi home game in Omaha, and everybody's kind of killing USC, but Oregon, and I don't know. I thought there was 3 close games. Oregon won the series 2 out of 3. Lost the first game.
That was USC's Q1 win against Oregon.
Well, so they didn't get. You're talking about Nebraska on a neutral is not. You're not counting the tournament.
They lost those games.
No, they beat Nebraska in the semifinal.
USC?
I'm sorry, that was Oregon that beat them.
Yeah.
That was Oregon that beat them.
Yeah, they lost all 3 games to Nebraska, at Nebraska.
That was Oregon that beat them. So
Yeah.
they beat, to get to the semis, they had, no, it was not a qual. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
they didn't beat Oregon, UCLA, or Nebraska, who were the top 3 seeds of that tournament, to get to the semifinals. They had their chance.
No, they beat Michigan State.
Yeah, which was the 12th seed.
Yeah.
It was garbage.
Right. So they're, the RPI, man.
I tell you what, Charlie.
They tend to lean on it when
Eyeball
they
tells
want
me. I saw them 3 games at Eugene. I saw, again, I'm not going to. Michigan State, and their pitching was. They start a guy with like a 7 ERA.
Yeah.
In the USC, so I'm not giving them any credit for there. But they're 1 out away from beating UCLA.
Right. And they're facing a Texas A&M team whose pitching is a mess. Okay.
They can swing it.
No, well, they're going to have to because they simply they have been without a number 1 pitcher, a true number 1 pitcher, really since the beginning of conference play. They've been starting an opener on Friday nights the last couple of weeks. They're hoping that Aiden Sims gets back, but he hasn't pitched in a month. So I don't. I mean, that regional is there to be taken if they can pitch well.
Like my eyeballs tell me to. And look, they managed to win 2 out of 3 against Ole Miss. They built a non-conference schedule. They had an RPI. The RPI loved them throughout, and they finished strong. I think we won 5 of their last 6. 1 was a sweep but my eyes tell me I would take USC over Alabama. Okay, and think about that. The extrapolation if seeding holds, and keep in mind 2/3 of the number 1 seeds win their regional, and then 70% of the national seeds when they make it to the Omaha, as far that make it to the Super. I just the 2, 3, 6, 7 bracket. Say they all go.
Yeah.
Tell me which one doesn't belong. Georgia Tech. They're damn good, huh?
Very good.
Georgia, strong.
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost 2 conference series out of 10.
Monster rotation.
2 conference series, right?
Monster rotation, big heavy ace.
And in Alabama.
Yeah.
They don't fit.
They are the one. Getting back to A&M for a second, they have given up so many runs in the last 3 weeks. They have given up 56 runs in their last 7 games. I mean, so
they never had a Friday starter, Charlie.
Friday starter.
We talked about it all on the podcast. Crushed. You did a good job of that, and they won
those last 2 games at Mississippi State, but they won them 11-9 and 7-6. That's how they're going to have to win games against good teams from here on out.
Oh, that Mississippi State series was palms away.
18-11, 11-9, and 7-6. I mean, it was blasting it all over the place. So we're gonna give you some more in the second hour when we get to our NCAA
There's a lot
preview.
of little tidbits, the pitching situations and things like that. And keep in mind when we talk about that, the California baseball legend, he always pitched down. Mm-hmm. Who am I talking about?
Augie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always pitch down.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the California coaches, like Cal Santa Barbara, it was a big decision. They have their pitcher has the lowest ERA of any starter in college baseball this year. Mm-hmm. And that's Fiora, Jackson Fiora. Yeah. Just 1.05 ERA. And they're going to start him. They're going to start him in the first game against Charleston State. I know Texas is happy about that.
Yeah, and I think Texas has got the easiest decision. I went through all 16 of the number 1 seeds. I think they've got the easiest decision to hold Dylan Valanis because their number 3 starter, Luke Harrison, is a 5th-year senior. He's been a weekend guy all year. He's 6-3. He's got an ERA of 4.6. I mean, that is an easy decision. And to be able to hold Valanis for game 2.
Just tell me this: how many of the 16 ones are pitching down?
Guaranteed pitching down?
No. How many do you have in of the 16? Do you know? 10, 12, 14?
I got right now. I think my best guess is 11 will throw their one and 5 will hold.
There you go. I'm with the 5.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, you got to see a 4 seed could be a little bit stronger.
Alabama's going to hold their one. Florida State, since Link Jarrett has been there, has held their one. Texas will hold their one. Mississippi State is holding Valinkas Now, they may throw their number 2, Duke Stoner. They may throw Ryan McPherson, who started the season as their number 1, but missed 7 weeks
I think
in the
it's
middle.
the right move. They
are posturing in Gainesville like Aiden King's going to start tomorrow. I can't imagine.
Come on, man.
That I just can't. I just don't believe that.
Come on.
West Virginia is holding the Big 12 Pitcher of the Year.
We saw used schemes against a team with a losing record. So,
yeah, and Carson Ballard for Georgia Tech. They are likely holding their number 1, Tyler McKee, but they've all got really similar numbers. It's not that big of a deal. I can't believe that Florida's going to throw King. I would throw Liam Peterson and not even think twice about it. So yeah, there's some differences. Auburn, for instance, has got 4 guys that all have very similar numbers. So some of these aren't dramatic. Southern Miss is probably going to start Colby Allen, who started as a Friday night guy, spent the entire middle of the season as a long reliever, and in the last few weeks has come on. So there's some different stuff in there that the teams can do. And then A&M really didn't have an ace.
No.
So you got to go through with that. What did you think of Sankey getting some heat about saying the SEC was the best league last year?
You're going to get heat.
Yeah.
I mean, if he makes that comment, he's going to get some pushback because, the SEC still had the number 1 conference RPI, top to bottom. They were better, but they built their reputation as the dominant league by winning the national champions.
Yeah.
And they've lost it 3 years in a row. They haven't played the last 3 in a row. So he's going to get some. Who cares?
Yeah. My thing was this. It's a hell of a claim to make when the top 3 tell me if you agree with this. The top 3 teams in the Big Ten last year, the 3 teams that made the playoffs, Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon, would have been favored on a neutral site against any SEC team. Oregon, Georgia might have been a pick, but they would have all been favored against Oklahoma. They would have all been favored against Alabama.
Texas had a higher power rating than,
and Texas didn't even make the playoffs. So
but they still they
would have all been favored against A&M. It's a tough claim to make when you.
Yeah, but their conference RPI was still better. This is the first year though that they didn't have as many first-round picks. And that's you've had a stranglehold on that for a long time.
If what Sankey is saying is that Arkansas was better than Purdue or that Mississippi State was better than Maryland, well, okay. But we tend to look at the top of these things.
The bottom half sucks.
Yes.
For the Big Ten.
It's terrible. Wasn't very good for the SEC either.
It's a lot better than
what I was saying. Arkansas is better than Purdue, and Mississippi State's better than Maryland.
Their conference RPI is better.
Yeah.
I mean, the top to bottom, they're better, but at the top, the Big Ten is better.
And they've also got more teams in the Big Ten now too.
And that's taken into consideration when I evaluate it. I think still. I mean, if you pick out the hat, I mean, you're gonna play a Big Ten. A Big Ten or an SEC team, it's likely that you're going to get a tougher game against an SEC team. Kentucky and Ole Miss was way better than they usually are.
What Ole Miss and Oregon on a neutral field. Oregon was the 3rd best team in the Big Ten, and Ole Miss was the best team. If you take everything into consideration, the best team in the SEC last year.
Georgia won the league, but Ole Miss. Georgia's power rating was still better. They were favored on a neutral down in New Orleans by about 7 points, 6.
Whatever. And Ole Miss won the game. Ole Miss lost in Athens. If you take full body of work, I would say Ole Miss was the best team in the league last year.
I do too.
Yeah,
because they had the best quarterback in the country.
And if they would have been in a neutral site game with Oregon,
the reason I think it's noteworthy is because for Sankey to say this is because this is usually okay. Let's bring in the Mountain West commissioner and let's bring in the Big 12, and they're pumping them, they're politicking and talking about how great they're, and I got to sell you on how good they are. It's unusual for Sankey to be put in that role.
This is
so. Is that basically for him to be saying this? Is that a concession that your league needs to be pumped up some?
The rest of the country's been beating on the SEC here in the last couple of weeks. And we won our 2014 playoff. You guys are the only holdouts. Big Ten's already better than you. Big Ten's making more money than you. Big Ten had more first-round picks than you did.
For the first time in a long time.
And that's what Sankey's saying is like, hang on a second. We're still relevant. We're still the best.
You're gonna tell me overall because you are taking in. I mean, the 16 in the SEC, their average power rating, and the 18 in the Big Ten, their average power rating. You don't think the SEC is stronger or this past year?
I think you can make a case when you go all the way down that far. I'm saying that most people tend to look at the top, and at the top, the Big Ten was better.
I said that initially.
I know.
You know, they built it on. You know,
his argument is that the bottom is better in the SEC, and I would agree with that.
So when we have this geographical argument and basically bias, what do we go by? We got to go by some measurable, some power rating. In the RPI, they were better.
Going to force me to root for Texas against Ohio State, and I don't want to do that.
Oh, Sarkisian's comments are way more. Who do they have non-conference moving forward after this year? He is still whining about having to play Ohio State last year.
Yeah,
he is still whining.
He's got a case. If they play Texas State instead of Ohio State, they're in the playoff. I mean,
I've heard a lot of people talk about, well, you know, this is going to kill the non-conference scheduling. Welcome to the party.
Yeah, we've been fighting that battle for quite some time. Got to play 10.
We're over here at Bally's, Charlie. We are coming over here.
I love coming over here to Bally's. First of all, this sports book is just fantastic. These huge screens, and looking forward to what we're going to be able to see this weekend with some of the college baseball. We were here for the NCAA basketball tournament. Great sight lines, bar area, easy access, easy parking too. Don't discount that. It's the parking garage is right across the alleyway, the driveway. It's tall. It's
if you want to get your car valeted, you can.
You can do that too. We stayed in the hotel.
Both stayed in the hotel. Staycations are cool, man. You know, it's you're looking if you just trying to, instead of going out of town, a little staycation. We've done it multiple times. It's cool, man. You got plenty of restaurant options over here, or you can go to some of the restaurants around town. Whatever it is, it's they got a 24-hour coffee shop and kind of a snack area, but you got how many different restaurants? You got the oyster bar, you got the pizza bar, you got the regular bar with different pasta meals, you got the one that does breakfast, lunch, and dinner that does po' boys and plate lunches and things like that. So very, very good. I love the pizzas, man. The fresh dough and the wood burning stove pizzas, man. So a lot of things. It's spacious, it's clean, it's non-smoking. It's
love
good,
the promotions
man.
too. You here on Saturdays, lots of giveaways, lots of different ways to win.
Saturday is a big giveaway.
Lots
DJ,
of stuff. It's happening in here at Bally's, downtown Baton Rouge. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch from Bally's Casino and Sportsbook on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. New Handicast up on YouTube. Brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026. Go to SupremeRice.com.
Let's go to Henry Hayes, talk some NBA. Henry, what's up, buddy?
I got to admit, it's a little bit of a weird time. Normally, you guys would be talking significant baseball. But, the finals right in front of us, so we can talk about that.
Let's get to it. With the Wemby game one, I mean, what's it take? I mean, you got to present an award that he finishes in second to get him motivated. I mean, where's he been, man? Get your behind down in the paint. I mean, you throwing elbows in one series, and then you pouting and telling your teammates and goons at the end of the game, man, go beat them up. This is. What about a third of the time he's going to show up and mix it up down low?
Well, let's be easy on the alien, Jimmy. I think, people forget he's 22 years old. This is clearly as deep as he's ever gone in the NBA playoffs, and you get so many glimpses of what's coming with this great.
Okay. Well, Henry, since game one, how many games has he gotten after it? 2?
They're fine getting after him. I mean, look, I told you after game one they were going to change how they guarded him, and they've done that. And so he's got to adjust. And, he's not a full-formed player yet at 22 years old. His cast is young around him. So they're taking their lumps, and yet they're still in this thing. I don't think it's a lack of Wemby, his effort, him trying.
Getting down in the paint?
Yeah. I think
you think where does the Thunder want him? They want him in the paint or want him floating around the perimeter?
Yeah, I think that think it's less of where they want him. I think it's more how they want to guard him, because if you make him a scorer and not a playmaker, that changes his game. And I think if you're the Spurs, you do want the ball in his hand. So, again, they're doing so many different things with him, and much better than Game 1, obviously. And so the Spurs have to adjust. That's what these kind of series are all about.
There's no way that Hartenstein should more than double his rebound total. He didn't. He elects where he's going to play, and I think that since Game 1, which he was all time. I mean, we have never seen a guy play, with this capability. Yes, the occasional three, but remember, Henry only attempted 2 threes in a 58-minute game, and one was kind of by necessity, the one that he hit close to regulation. Now he's doing a handful, now he's going to float, and he is showing that he is getting aggravated with the physicality of the game. Charlie and I talked about this yesterday. The thing that's different about the postseason mostly is the physicality. They let them play more. The officiating is different. And the Bulls had to get more physical and handle the physicality of the Pistons before they graduated to it. You talk about it all the time, that sort of that outer core, that toughness, that seasoning that you have to get. How much is it just that the Thunder is got a big advantage when it comes to that?
Well, little things, Jimmy. Like, look, you think you're going to have to tell Jalen Brunson or SGA or Luka Doncic, hey, you got to shoot in a playoff game? No, you will not. But Wemby only took 15 shots in Game 5. So he's got to almost be on autopilot to say, no, you got to get 22 to 25 shots, even if you miss them. That's what a great, A-plus player does in the playoffs. But, again, he's 22 years old, so he's going to learn that. That's got to be a choice that, frankly, he didn't even make because he does it. You never see star players kind of take a back seat in terms of, getting shots up. Obviously, if they fall, great, but that's got to happen. It's got to run through him, because when it doesn't, you got other guys that just can't do it.
From the Thunder's perspective, is it just a matter, man, when these role guys are performing? I mean, they hit shots last game. Game 4, they didn't. Game 3, they did. I mean, is it? I mean, we don't know where it's coming from. Man, these guys got some players, man. It's just you have so many chances of this guy might be hot this night. I mean, Caruso is lights out for a game, but he threw out a dud. It's 0, goose egg in Game 4. So from their perspective, man, gosh, they have some options.
Oh, for sure. And then, look, I'll tell you who's sitting smiling, Jimmy, is the New York Knicks. Because if the Spurs can get this game, looks like obviously, it's going to go till the end, and they're beating the heck out of each other physically. We see the injuries almost every game. No one's fully healthy, but the Knicks are off their feet. They're waiting. They're scouting, and so they're rooting for a 7th game. But yeah, I mean I think what's underrated about Thunder is how they guard the perimeter. You bring guys like Caruso off the bench, and he's arguably the best on-ball perimeter defender in the league. And yet he's getting 18 to 22 minutes a game. So he's fresh, and he's coming at you. And so that's, look, we saw the 20 turnovers in the first 2 games from Castle. You just can't have that. But, again, That'll get better with age. But, it's been a good one so far.
It just so a year ahead of schedule is what we're going to think, because, man, after Game 1, I'm just not thinking that, man. I just saw a guy, but I have not seen that same type of intensity out of Wemby. Now, the conventional thinking that you talked about, they want these teams to beat themselves up. But the only game that Cleveland was really competitive was the game where, for 40 minutes, the Knicks, in hindsight, seemed to have a lot of rust that they had to shake off in Game 1 against Cleveland.
Yeah, when you look back, Jimmy, what a difference a week and a half makes, right? They're up 22 points on the, in Game 1 on the road, and now it looks like if you just look at the data, it's like they were never in the series. Well, I still think the Knicks would have won, but again, shame on Cleveland for not closing out Game 1. Knicks are clearly the better team. I'll tell you what, Jimmy, you gotta tip your hat to New York. I was thinking about this morning, knowing I was going to talk to you guys. This harkens me back to 2011 when that Dirk Nowitzki squad made a run. Now, if you remember, Jimmy, because I know you were paying attention back then, none of us thought that Dallas had a shot in that playoffs because that was the peak of the Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Miami Heat. And so it was like, Dallas is cute. Dirk's good player. Tyson Chandler, and they're doing some things, but they're not going to win it. Well, they got on a run, and they played really, really well together, and they had 7 guys they played. That's exactly what the Knicks are doing. 10 days ago,
JJ Barea, baby.
That's right.
He played his ass off, man.
You tell me, how's the number changed from the opening of the Cleveland series to now of the Knicks winning the whole thing?
It's interesting. The Knicks, I can't compare it to anything professionally because they just destroy, and these are NBA playoff teams, but we have more teams tanking than ever. So some of these playoff records or playoffs teams, or their records a little bit kind of, I don't know, just kind of cosmetic. But, it reminds me of UNLV, destroying these, Cal State Fullerton and Pepperdine in their conference, and we have to see when they get in a tournament. But the other thing is, Henry, we're killing Tibbs, we're anointing Brown because they're playing better, okay? But there's not a team they've beaten in the playoffs that was as good as that Boston team last year.
And I'll give you that. That's true. But look, winning 5 consecutive games on the road by double digits. I don't care who you're playing against. You're in the playoffs. I think they've got a lot of quiet confidence, Jimmy. Boy, that game 1's going to be something because if somehow they can get a split on the road, it looks like they'll play OKC. I think this Knicks is a pretty confident bunch.
The Hawks, Sixers, and Cavs are still better than Kurt Signetti's non-conference scheduling. Yes.
Well done. Well played.
I'd expect a little bit more effort out of the supporting cast and by the young Spurs at home. And Wemby, get your big behind down low. Don't just be parking it on the perimeter, okay? And is that what we got? And then form will hold in the Thunder. Is it Thunder in 7? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think, but San Antonio's got a really nice home court. Gently, I would expect the whistles to kind of go San Antonio's way. That typically does follow. And look, SGA is very, very free throw dependent. He foul hunts like nobody in the league. And so, if San Antonio can get out to a lead in this game, I expect them to push this thing back to OKC for a 7th game. But they got to get out to a lead. If the Thunder get up on them, I think they're going to close them out. So I think we'll know pretty early.
All right, Henry. Thank you, brother. We'll be talking to you throughout the playoffs.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, the Legacy Title for all your real estate closings. 296-0060, full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Our great team at Legacy Title, long-standing team, will execute your deal seamlessly. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Marion Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith, buying, building, refinancing. Nobody choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Bally's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's time. It's now Colucci time. Dwayne Colucci is back to give his best picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You all right, man? Montreal with a no-show last night. The Habs, huh? You okay? I'm checking on you.
2 nights.
I've been worried.
2 games in a row.
I've been losing sleep. My son said, Dad, what is wrong? I said, man, the Habs look like garbage tonight. I'm worried about Colucci.
We sent a wellness check. We called.
Yes. Have you fallen? Can you get up? Can you get up? We know you've fallen.
I can barely get up. To be honest with you. And it's costing me tons of money, too. It's just so sick. I can't believe that they can't get shots on goal against this team. It's just, to me, it's mind-boggling, and especially at the Bell Center, it's just such a disappointment. You get so close and yet so far.
But Colucci, they were winning some of these games. Didn't they win Game 7 with only 8-10 shots on goal or whatever for the game? What was it?
Yeah, but the defense was much more competitive. When you're giving up 3 goals like last night in a 4-minute span, it was a catastrophic letdown, and they just played horrible with. It was just so frustrating. And the night before, they played terrible as well. And it just seems that they're so tentative to get pucks to the net And Frederick Anderson is not a superstar stud goaltender, but they're making him look that way just because of the fact that they can't get any shots on goal. And, I mean, you're talking about a team that had a 100-point player in Suzuki, 50-goal scorer in Cole Caulfield, runner-up, the Rookie of the Year, Demidov. Hudson is just a fabulous defenseman, and they're doing nothing. They're letting Nick Ehlers and guys like that just dominate them, Stahl hitting hard. And they don't seem to have, the fight in them. And I'm questioning Martin St. Louis not using Jack-Eye out there and some of the bigger players and rougher players, Brendan Gallagher, guys like that. They're just, sitting games out, and they're getting roughhoused and manhandled. It's just such a disappointment.
So we saw you on Twitter as, you pulled off that Habs jersey, and underneath is an LVK jersey.
Fortress, baby. They come into the Fortress.
The Fortress, the season ticket holder. You flopped allegiances. I mean, what about this Tortorella thing, man? I mean, is it just him? Huh?
I tell you the truth, I think it was just a combination of an unsettled locker room that just wasn't happy with Bruce Cassidy and getting healthy at the right time. I mean, you got to remember Carter Hart was hurt for most of the season, and then at the end of the season, he went on a tremendous run. And I mean, you're talking about a team that's 19-4 under Tortorella, and definitely knows how to, get his message across to these players, whereas Cassidy just was getting stale, in my opinion. And now you got Mark Stone healthy, which is just a tremendous asset. Thomas Hertl is starting to finally play. Mitch Marner, he's showing what he's worth. And definitely, those Toronto fans are kicking themselves as well with this guy just excelling at another level. And the way they beat Colorado was very, very impressive. I mean, I didn't think Colorado could have been swept by any team in the NHL, let alone the Vegas Golden Knights. But, they're just playing on a tremendous momentum wave. And I've seen this before with the Vegas Golden Knights. They get that momentum going. You start to get good play out of, the role players, and you start to win games. I mean, Shea Theodore's playing well, and, Dorofeyev is just scoring goals, and Hannafin, and it's just unbelievable. Just fun.
Max, what was the odds on the sweep before the series started? Golden Knights, I mean, like 35-1, 40-1.
I'll look that up.
Something like that. The low.
Sounds about right.
Everybody's happy. Y'all just get handing out money on the Golden Knights, huh? Lately, everybody's just on the bandwagon.
Yeah, of course. Here in Vegas, everybody's just piling it on, and you started to see the future wagers come in when they started to. You got the message that they were going to beat Anaheim. Definitely, you started to see future wagers as well as game-by-game wagers, and especially at the Fortress. People love the Golden Knights here in Las Vegas. It's the only Vegas-born team, and, they're showing their true merit. They're definitely the franchise in Las Vegas. And, we have an NFL team here now, but the Vegas Golden Knights get
Y'all
going
do?
in the whole city.
Who's the NFL team?
Yeah, exactly.
The
right?
Cowboys?
Similar to you guys in the Bayou there with New Orleans. You can rest your laurels on.
Don't you start. Who won the last two game Lombardi Trophy? Huh? Who won it? 2 games in when they smoked the Cowboys in Dallas.
Yeah, I know. Everybody was building the monuments, and then Carr just retired on you guys. I'll just play now. I had some nice games, but now I'm just, I'm not going to play anymore.
That was a good thing when he retired. That helped
a
lot.
Well, right. You don't need a winning season as a quarterback for us to retire your jersey in the Superdome. So why?
There you go.
Why? Yeah. So anyway,
Drew Brees is flipping in his grave, and he ain't even dead yet.
all right, but really, what is going on? They're dancing in the streets in New York. They're dancing in the subways.
Now let's talk about the good stuff, right?
The crime rate is going down. I mean, the rats are out the garbage cans. I mean, it's clean. You have a breath of fresh air in New York City right now, huh?
It's amazing. I mean, just the way the Knicks are playing. I'm super impressed. But don't, give them the title yet. You still got to get past San Antonio or OKC, and these are two roughhouse teams. I mean, hopefully they're killing each other, and they're starting to get a little tired. But the Knicks look fabulous. I mean, just unbelievable. Brunson, Bridges, all these guys, OG, Mitchell Robinson even chipping in. You're seeing the guys off the bench, Landry Shamet, and just a unbelievable cohesion. And this is what Mike Brown brings. I mean, for a couple of years at least, we were wasting our time with Tom Thibodeau. He just doesn't know how to make adjustments. He just knows how to put that scowl on his face and annoy his players, basically. So, you're talking about a guy that was a multiple playoff appearances, and the Knicks did win some playoff series under Thibodeau, but now look at them under Mike Brown, and it's just such an impressive job that this man has done. He knows how to make adjustments, even when they're playing bad or having a bad first half. You could see the adjustments against the Cavaliers were amazing. Very tough to defend, too. They're getting great ball movement. Towns is unbelievable. It's super impressive, and it's good for the city, and hopefully I'll get to see my first title in my lifetime from the New York Knicks.
Now. What team compares that Mike Brown's Knicks have beaten that as good as the Celtics were last year that Tom Thibodeau's Knicks beat?
Well, you're talking about one series. It's putting together the string of wins, the 10 in a row. Yeah. That's what's impressive. I mean, definitely the Celtics were a tough team, but, then you started to lose to Tyrese Halliburton in playoff pass. So, you're letting one singular guy beat you. The momentum was totally, taken away from the Knicks, and, the adjustments are the key factor. That's in my opinion. And
Kaluch, the Pacers team last year went to 7 with Oklahoma City, who we all respect. There's nobody that they beat this year that's as good as that Pacers team last year either. Now, they're dominating. They're the bully. You've heard that term when you handicap on the bully. We've seen that they're crushing weaker competition, but how are they going to do when they step up?
Yeah, but that's the whole key. I mean, who did OKC beat so far? And they're playing the Spurs. They're playing inferior competition. They're playing the lower tier teams, whereas the Knicks were not the number one seed. Keep that in mind, guys. Now San Ann and the Thunder are really going at it. And, okay, well, the Cavs, they beat Detroit. It's not our fault that Detroit didn't make it, and we didn't play the better of the two teams, and we matched up very well against the Cavaliers. But when you're putting up 140 points, I don't think anybody at the NBA level is going to beat them. So, this is the whole key. If they start to put up these 120s to 140s, and the Spurs or the Thunder don't play defense, it's going to be very difficult to outscore them. I don't care who the opponent is. And, we're playing the bully now, and that's rightfully so. We're flexing on these teams. We made Donovan Mitchell and James Harden look. And, moving on. And now we're just resting and hoping to
Charlie, settle this for me. The next we're going to hear him saying, "I just got the gig. I'm playing Willy Wonka in the next movie or something." A little Dwayne Chalamet. What do we got going? He sounds like a little Chalamet here. When are you going to courtside for Game 1? Huh? You going to be at courtside?
I ain't got that money, guys. I don't have that money, guys. Maybe I could get a loan off of Chalamet, but Kardashian. But I don't have that money. I tell you right now.
But how much is it, Brown, and how much is it like a guy like Karl Anthony Towns is, I'm sorry, but he seems like he's a much smarter player. He is mixing it up down low where it's hard, and then occasionally he'll go out there where he can knock down his three. We talk about his shooting. We as a freshman at Kentucky and had the highest free throw percentage for a 7-footer as a freshman ever. I
understand, but guys are playing better under Mike Brown than they.
No, they are. He's part of the equation, and he's the only thing they changed. He's the only thing they changed from last year. He does.
You guys love Tom Thibodeau. Give him a job. You know what I'm saying? Let him sit next to you and Charlie. He could break down a game for you. The guy wasn't offered any jobs. I didn't see anybody banging on his door to offer him any jobs, and there's still no talk about this guy returning to the coaching ranks. So. It's not my fault that the Celtics blew a 3-1 lead this year with Tatum back.
You're right. You're right. We should have known. Dolan has a long list of smart decisions.
How good are they? The Lakers, it's not my fault the Lakers were banged up and didn't have Luka to match up with these superstar teams. Not my fault, and the Knicks have suffered for 55 years, and you guys are still trying to bash it. Talk to me in a week. We'll see what's going on. When Mr. Flop is in Madison Square Garden struggling. We'll see what happens.
Mr. Flop.
I'm a little bit on Colucci's side here. I think the Knicks are being given very little respect for a team that's accomplished what they've accomplished over the last 3 weeks. We're talking about historic numbers, historic blowouts. They have 5 players that are all in their prime. They are playing at their best. I don't understand why we're not giving them more of a chance. I'm not saying they're going to win the finals.
I give them a chance. I really do.
Yeah.
I give them a chance, but I mean, Reggie Miller's not setting the numbers at Caesars at the resort in Summerlin, because he has the Knicks as the favorite. So I'm trying to find Reggie's.
Announcing the games in the finals, guys. Who the hell even wants to hear him? And now, why is he even allowed in Madison Square Garden?
He's trying to kiss up to New York now that they're winning. Says that they should be the favorite.
To take the pressure off because they have Jamal Crawford, who used to play for us and was a high octane player, sitting next to him to try and take pressure off, but. Get this Miller clown out of here. This guy's got to go somewhere, I'll tell you the truth. And the only way to shut him up is basically to win the title. So, that you guys are right.
Kind of like Jamal Crawford a little bit on the call.
Jamal Crawford's great. He's really good. Reggie needs to share the mic a little bit more. He's inexperienced, but his content is really, really good. Really good. But he's dealing in a crowded mic right there between Tirico. I mean, Tirico can't even make the play-by-play call without Miller stepping all over him. So, but no, he's trying to kiss up. A little smooch by Reggie, boy. He's trying to, the Knicks. Yes, indeed. All right, who are they playing tonight in Game 6, Spurs and OKC at the resort in Summerlin at the Caesars book?
Yeah, we're sitting at Caesars is sitting at 3.5. So, we opened it at 2.5. We're starting to see some of this Spur money. Wemby, he's got to come tonight. Castle and Wemby, they got to come up big. But, I think the Thunder are going to end it tonight. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm going out on a limb. I'll take the 3.5 or the 4. I'm seeing some shops even having 4 now. And definitely I'll take a shot with Shea and the boys. They looked really good in that last game. I was impressed. Even though it was at home, I take that into consideration. But I believe still they're the better team. San Antonio has got many years to improve, and they're going to be a force for years and years. Definitely the new face of the NBA is Wembanyama. But, you still got SGA there, and he's going to be very tough tonight. He's going to be looking to stick the dagger in, and he's getting some good complimentary play from the role players, and it's really going to be a great game, I feel, tonight. But I think that OKC ends it.
Follow Dwayne follow the big Knicks fan. You can see all of his emphasis is moving from the have to the Knicks. So follow him on Twitter at NYBookieDwayne, at NYBookieDwayne. Colucci, the best, brother. Good luck to you, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Definitely love you guys. Thanks for having me on, and say hi to everybody in fabulous Baton Rouge.
There you go. Colucci with us each and every week at 11:30 on Thursdays. Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com for windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. Your homeowners association requires wood windows. Do them right the first time. They're not cheap, and you don't want to be replacing these every 6, 8, 10 years like I did. Do them the right way. The doors, exterior doors, French doors, sliding glass doors, siding. We had vinyl siding, hardy plank sliding, shutters, interior, exterior, all the shutters. You can view all of our stuff, and shades as well. You can view all of our stuff at ReliefWindows.com. Do like I did when I had some wood windows that rotted, need to be replaced. I called Relief Windows at 288-8138 and ReliefWindows.com. Live at Bally's Casino and the DraftKings Sportsbook. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch from Bally's Casino and Sportsbook on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Individual meetings wrapping up a little bit early at the SEC meeting, so Greg Sankey is going to do his address here sooner than we thought. We got Scott Rabelais over there, so we're going to try to move around that, but I think he'll probably be talking within the hour, so we hope to have Scott either before or after that. We'll see how that goes.
This is State of the League address in spring?
It's not necessarily a State of the League address. It's just his big media availability. I think his State of the League address, what he opens up with media days.
When did this start?
No, he always talks to the media as a group. You know, at the SEC meetings. I'm going to ask about that.
A lot more media attention than just handing out the checks and going hit the golf course.
And they don't even hand out the checks at the meetings anymore.
Really?
No,
when did that stop?
They changed that about 3 or 4 years ago because they get the numbers at a different time. So they announced that earlier in the spring, and these meetings have had more light on them than any that I can remember, because now it does seem like it's a very clear everybody against the SEC.
It does seem like there's a lot more light on. Yes.
Yeah. You know, it's like, are you guys going to acquiesce? We want to know what's going on with the playoffs, and Sankey's been very adamant about that. We're not going to run into anything. We're gonna make sure. I'll just put it the way he would put it if he was talking candidly. We're gonna make sure our ass is covered financially before we agree to anything.
Well, the one writer that's covering it was talking about how, you know, how are you going to recover this $105 million that you're going to lose from your conference championship game? And nobody really knows.
Yeah.
You know, for the Big Ten Conference Championship game is way better than being stuck with those divisions where you got Wisconsin, Purdue, and Iowa getting in there, Michigan State.
They're not going to take anybody's word for it. They want to check. So, hour number 2, straight ahead at Bally's, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Enjoying the finer things in life is his forte. Let's bring in Scott Rabelais from The Advocate.
Man, we better hurry here at Bally's Sportsbook and Casino, because Rabelais played so much golf and built so many sandcastles this week. We've had a hard time getting into his schedule. Scott, before you got to run off with Greg Sankey here, things running a little bit ahead of schedule at the SEC meetings today?
Yeah, you never know when they're going to finish, but apparently the meetings have just broken up between the commissioner and the school president. So we may have to go any minute now, but we're good for now. So
it seems like these meetings have had a lot more light on them. It seems like Greg Sankey spent a little bit of time playing defense a little bit for the Southeastern Conference. Give me a feel for how this is going here this week in Destin.
Well, obviously, so many weighty issues. I think the SEC on the, one of the biggest ones, which is how much to expand, whether or how much to expand the college football playoffs, is a little bit on an island. The other Power 4 conferences, led by the Big Ten, have said they want to go 24 games. I think there is support within the SEC for that in some quarters, but not a consensus. And so that's been a little bit of the thing. I think one of the bigger questions here that Sankey has pushed back on is that maybe the SEC is not as powerful a position as it has been in the past, with at least in football, because obviously the Big Ten has won the last 3 national titles with 3 different schools. He says the SEC is still the best. That's debatable. Top to bottom, I think it still is. But can the SEC throw its weight around and get the other schools to agree? ESPN supposedly, according to the ACC commissioner, wants them to go no more than 16 teams either. Now, you think ESPN, what they want, would carry a lot of weight as well. It remains to be seen. He said very interestingly said that they've got to decide probably by December, by the end of the regular season, what the plan is going to be for next year. Because if the SEC and the Big Ten don't agree, then they stay at 12 teams, which is what it's going to be this season, of course.
It feels like he wants an assurance that the league is going to be able to recoup the SEC championship money if that game has to go away, that his deal with ESPN is going to be accurately represented if they go to 24 teams. It doesn't seem unreasonable what he's asking here. It says, give us a summer to look at this thing, and if we can, decide that we can make more money and that's better for us, we'll do it, but we're not just going to run willy-nilly into this thing.
I think that's right. I think that, and there've been, and some of the coaches have said there's been so much change over the last few years in college athletics and college football, and they don't give time for anything to just let's see how this works out. I mean, 2 years ago went from 4 teams in the playoff to 12, for example. the SEC championship thing is a big thing. Obviously, the game is worth up to $100 million a year, for the league. That money's got to be replaced. You're not going to go to 24 teams and only get as much, right? There's got to be some return on the agreement, the return on the investment. So I think that's a big part of it. And yeah, you said from the start there would be no vote here this weekend. There's not, but I think there's got to be more money. But I think personally, I think it's a false assumption that there's definitely going to be, so much more money for a 2014 playoff out there. I mean, eventually, ESPN is going to say, we don't have any more money for you. I think part of the thing was they had to bring in another television partner like they did TBS TNT last year with a couple of games, and maybe that's Fox Sports or something like that. Certainly that's not what they want. So that's a big factor too.
One thing that did get taken care of this week is we are going to officially end Cupcake Weekend in November next year, and I am delighted about that because there's nothing quite as unappetizing as Alabama versus the Citadel or LSU versus Western Kentucky in the third week in November. So that's going away, and I'm pretty pleased about that.
If there's nothing else, there's one thing that I think all college football fans can agree on, that they're supportive of that. Yeah, no more games against Directional State on the second last weekend of the year before you play rivalry weekend. As you said, LSU played Western Kentucky on that weekend last year. Now this year, with the SEC going to a 9-game conference schedule, LSU is already playing a conference game. They're going to be at Tennessee on November 21st, and they go to Arkansas to finish the season. And it looks like going forward, Arkansas will be the LSU season-ending opponent once again, as it was in years past. But I think everybody's pretty glad about that. So you're going to have a few non-conference games that are obviously rent-a-wins. Everybody's going to have those on their schedule, but the second last weekend won't be a snooze fest going forward. No.
You got to speak to Will Wade yesterday. He seemed very friendly and cordial, but not especially forthcoming with a whole bunch of new information. Am I reading the quotes right, or what did you take from Will yesterday?
You are 100% right. I don't think any coach here maintained a lower profile in the 2 days they were here than Will Wade did. Obviously, that was quite intentional. I just caught him as he and Kim Mulkey and Lane Kiffin were catching a charter flight back to Baton Rouge, and I caught him before he left. And of course, I asked him the question that is so much interest with the NCAA saying they're going to maybe restrict international players or players who have played in professional leagues from playing in the future. And LSU's got actually 4 of these guys on the roster who have played in Europe and Israel and places like that, plus R.J. Lewis, who obviously signed an NBA contract and was on a G League team. What's that going to mean for this team? And he smiled and said, "We feel very comfortable about our position." So he could read a lot. He didn't care to elaborate very much, but I got that much out of him. So it was you could read into that what you want. My take is, if they have to go to court to get injunctions, they're going to go to court and get injunctions. And most of, if not all of these guys are going to be on the roster come the fall. You may feel differently, but that's what I get out of it.
Yeah. What's a charter flight from Destin to Baton Rouge? About an hour, maybe even a little bit less?
More.
Yeah, a little bit more? Okay. I would have paid good money to sit on that plane with those three and listen to that conversation.
You would have paid for it, huh? You would have paid for
American green dollars I would have paid to sit on that plane and listen to those three talk for an hour or whatever it was coming back. Hey, Scott, fill us in. It seems like neither one of us have ever been to this event. It's always smack dab in the middle of the baseball regionals. But it seems like it's been a little bit more formal this year, or are we just imagining that, where instead of you guys catching people in the lobby, they've come up to the podium, it's been more structured? Has it been like that and we just didn't notice, or is this different?
Well, starting with the football coaches, we had 10 coaches on Tuesday, 9 football coaches, and Sean Miller, the basketball coach at Texas. I think, and having Kiffin being part of that group, I think makes his team more that way. We never had Brian Kelly do a press conference. Will Wade did that press conference that one year, you may recall, when he had to try to explain all the shenanigans that were being accused of at the time, his first stint at LSU. Ed Orgeron never did a press conference. So I think more coaches are like taking the opportunity to say, You want me? Here I am. But don't bother me again. While I'm here, because I got to get back and try to win some football games. There's still a lot of catching ADs and school presidents in lobbies and coming out of meetings and stuff like that. But I think with the coaches, they're a little more like, yeah, let me do this and get it done. And certainly Lane was part of that, and that's fine. Yeah, that's fine with me. Yeah, going forward. But there's still a lot of hanging out in hotel lobbies compared to being on the beach. And I know what you guys think about the spring meetings, but that's the way it is.
It's just one of those things I'm going to have to do before I hang up my microphone. Just 1 year, just to say I did it. The little media gathering that Lane Kiffin had seemed to go off without a hitch. I don't know if that was intentional; it just fell that way. But he certainly didn't seem interested in providing any headline-worthy quotes from the podium or wherever he was this week, and that's probably a good thing. What did you think of when you talked to him?
Yeah, like a lot of times when you get Lane in those settings, I've found he's pretty low key. That's not when he says something that makes a lot of headlines or ruffles feathers. It's in more of a one-on-one setting when he says to Vanity Fair what he said about Ole Miss and the whole recruiting thing. Which, by the way, I'm going to interject. There are whispers. I'm going to ask Greg Sankey in a few minutes that he could be sanctioned by the SEC for what he said in the Vanity Fair article. I don't know. You got to sanction Steve Sarkisian too, I would think, for starting about them. You can take basket weaving and graduate from Ole Miss, but we'll see. But in those settings, he's usually he usually tones it down. It's when he's one-on-one and says to USA Today, "Hey, if I coached Ole Miss, we would have made it to the national championship game." And he doesn't say a lot of outlandish things in those settings. So it's not his favorite venue, I guess you'd say, to be talking to. So yeah, he kept it pretty low key, of course, but he still makes news, right? This bipartisan bill being sponsored by the senators comes out yesterday, and they're calling the part about you can't hire coaches before the season ends, the Lane Kiffin rule. That's going to stick. We wish we could have asked him about that, but yeah, he left before we could ask him about it.
Of everything I read in that bill, I think that's the toughest thing to enforce. I think you're going to have a hell of a time enforcing free market movement among I'll go ahead and bite and say student athletes, okay?
Well, player power, you're going to reduce player power.
Yeah. Those things are tough because there's nothing to collective bargain with the players right now. Why would they agree to any of that stuff? They're getting everything they want right now. But I think you're telling a 45-year-old football coach that he can't take a better job, I think that's a hard sell. Even if you're saying, well, you can take it 3 weeks from now or a month from now, I just think if they get it accomplished, great. But to me, of everything I read in that bill, that's going to be the hardest thing.
Rab, so they're calling the Lane Kiffin rule, where you can't leave. Why is it not called the Ole Miss rule? Where they got to allow their coach.
Where's the fun in that?
Well, they got to allow their coach to coach the playoff.
Ole Miss, because Ole Miss is seen as the villain and the victim, and Lane is seen as the villain. That's why. Yeah. But this is the interesting thing. Ole Miss said they didn't want to coach in the playoff last year. If that rule had been in place last year, wouldn't they have been forced to let him coach?
That's what I'm saying. It's the Ole Miss rule.
Yeah.
It's not the Lane Kiffin rule. Lane wanted to. I mean, he wanted to have his cake and eat it too. I mean, but right. But we understand. But I mean, Tulane allowed their coach to do it, and Ole Miss didn't.
And if Tulane would have said, Coach, you're either with us, or if Florida would have said, you either take the job right now, but if you're going to coach Tulane, we're going to move on. Summerall's going to Gainesville. I don't care what he said. I mean,
absolutely.
I get where he's trying to pacify everybody, and I probably would have said it the same way.
Outside of Baton Rouge, who's got Kiffin's back?
Nobody.
Exactly.
Nobody.
I mean, come on. So I mean,
he's going to take that job.
Yeah, take your shot. But I mean, Scott, he was honest about saying it was a mess. Trying to do both.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but that, a whole lot of people admit that, Charlie.
No, right. And I think that was the candid part that I enjoyed, where he's like, I'm answering my phone. It's like,
it's a mess.
It's Coach Summerall, coach at Tulane or coach at Florida. Well, what state your business, Anything we missed, Rab? What else before you head back home?
Those are pretty much the main things. Obviously, there's been some talk about, saber rattling, I guess you'd probably call it, about, the SEC maybe breaking away from the NCAA. Obviously, you would need maybe the Big Ten do as well. I mean, Kirby Smart kind of brought that up. I think that's a huge mistake. And some of these other schools, like the Iowa State AD, are calling the SEC's bluff on that. I think they still everybody does want some leadership, but they also want to just say what have their own say in what they're doing. And I see why the SEC schools don't want to be governed the same way the Division III schools are being governed. I get that, but this is broader implications for something like that. What does it mean to the NCAA basketball tournament, the NCAA baseball tournament? You can't just say we're the national champion. The Alabama-Georgia winner and the SEC championship team is the national champion. That's not going to have any legitimacy. So I don't think there's a lot of real teeth to that, but it's something that has been discussed.
Yeah, I think saber rattling and bluffing is a real. I played plenty of poker in my life. You can ruffle them chips all you want until you push them in the middle, and we know when you ain't going to push them. Those chips ain't going in the middle. Not anytime soon.
It's where Charlie always used to wear sunglasses at the poker table. Yes.
Rabs, have a safe trip back. We'll talk to you when we get back to Baton Rouge.
We made it all the way through the segment. I'm so pleased.
Yes. Okay. Well, you may go back to work now. Thanks a lot. We're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Port Store, and also open in LaRose and Lockport. Your summer construction projects. Get your lumber delivered out of Pierre Port and out of Lockport. Go get some instruction if you're building things on your property. Maybe these little small projects. I mean, I understand not everybody's a carpenter or a contractor, but you can do some of these projects yourself, save you some money. Get some guidance. It's a lot easier than watching a YouTube video when you can actually talk to somebody, ask some pertinent questions. They can save you time and money on a ton of home projects. You're getting out in your yard, tons of fertilizer, gardening equipment, hand tools, outdoor power equipment, and, of course, tons of outdoor cooking accessories, grills. Still, some of these grills are still on special. Patio and poolside furniture available. Go to thethibodeaustore.com. You'll get to all 4 of the sites from the one site, all 4 locations. And if you're visiting in person, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, Highway 70 in Pierre Port. Online, thethibodeaustore.com. Live at Bally's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch from Bally's Casino and Sportsbook on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Bally's, live at lunch. Okay, NCAA tournament starts tomorrow. Your 11 o'clock games. We're going to have a couple of really good ones to lead off tomorrow on TV. East Carolina and Tennessee. Which Tennessee is holding their ace, Tegan Coons. They are going with Evan Blanco tomorrow. And ECU, been in a lot of these tournaments. Cliff Godwin, very experienced coach. So that's at 11 o'clock on ESPNU. And Wake Forest, Kentucky, which is one of the games that we well,
let's just talk about, before we bounce around, that North Carolina regional first. And you would have to think as a number 5 national seed, there's some capable teams coming in there. With Tennessee, it's not that Vitello left them sort of the cupboard bare, but they're very young, and they are playing better. They have played better coming down the stretch, and then you get to bring in a program as a 3 seed with Cliff Godwin in East Carolina. That's some capable teams coming into to Chapel Hill. If you're the number, a little conversation about whether they deserve the 4 ahead of Auburn, but still, and they do have balanced pitching, so they're probably, is North Carolina throwing their ace? I would think they are.
They're throwing Jason DeCaro. VCU is the 4 seed there. They're an 82 RPI.
VCU is yes.
There are a lot of these 4 seeds are 160, 170, even in the 200s. Alabama State is right at 200.
This might have to be the most balanced regional there is.
An 82 4 seed is pretty good. North Carolina going to throw Jason DeCaro.
Is Tennessee throwing a kid who had 15 strikeouts late in the season?
Tegan Coons, they're going to hold.
They're going to hold him.
They'll throw Evan Blanco, and ECU is throwing Ryan Towers, who has been their best pitcher in the last month of
his dad,
the season.
is a major league pitcher.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to let's go back.
Josh Towers.
Let's go back to the top. UCLA. Their number one pitcher has been out for a month.
Who's this?
UCLA.
Okay.
Logan Redelman has been out since April of 14th. It'll be better than a month. He was supposed to throw a bullpen at the Big Ten, out of the bullpen at the Big Ten tournament. Didn't do that. 8-0, 2.87 ERA. Whether he's going to pitch or not at all this weekend is up for grabs. UCLA is going to throw Michael Barnett, who was their Sunday guy before Redelman got hurt. He's going to throw in the opening game against St. Mary's, 6-0, 4.15 ERA.
St. Mary's has a little history, creating a little stress for the higher seeds out in some of these Western. Which one they went to? Who did they? It was Oregon State that they beat in the first round.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember what year, but
they actually can swing it a little bit. UCLA was very deep in the season. I don't know if they finished that way, but as the number one team ERA. Of course, they play in a very pitching-friendly park in Jackie Robinson Field. So, but they're not just Chalowski, Charlie. He's going to be the number one pick. He's an outstanding shortstop, one of those American-born shortstops. The kid from the Pirates called up. How about him going oppo last night, showing off that all-field power? But Connor Griffin, but. They won their toughest game. They won on the last at bat against USC. They won in extra innings against Oregon. But it was the best hitter over the course of this season for college. Might be the kid that backs him up in the Polynesian Alefu or whatever. He's the one that hit the walk-off 3-run homer against USC when they were down to the last out.
We're giving you these. Some of these are confirmed. Some of these are projected. I'm going to tell you if they're projected, if multiple reports are coming out on it. And some of them are just very much up in the air. So I'm going to try to give you the best information that we have on these. Let me move to the 16 seed West Virginia. This is matched up with UCLA. They are going to hold Max Yell, who was the Big 12 pitcher of the year, against Binghamton. They'll hold him for game 2. They're going to throw Chasen Cole. 8-1, 3.04 ERA for West Virginia against Binghamton. So a very, very strong number 2 there. And then you've got a great pitching matchup, I think, in the Wake Forest game with Kentucky, with Jackson Jelkin going for Kentucky. And Wake Forest is number 1, whose name is escaping me right now. I'm trying to find that in my notes. Is also very, very good. Chris Leonis is how you Lavonis is his name. So that's going to be a really good matchup tomorrow. But West Virginia is going to hold their ace. Southern Miss, the 9 seed. So Colby Allen was their Friday night start at the beginning of the season. Then they moved into the bullpen, long and short relief. He's got some saves, but he's also got some long relief outings. He's thrown 70 innings, so that's up there. 23 appearances, 5 starts, but he's been the Friday night guy for the last 3 weeks, and I'm told he is the likely starter tomorrow. Golden Eagles got a really good rotation. Camden Sumstrom threw 77 innings with an ERA at 2.79, and Graydon Harris was 8-1 with a 3.20 ERA in 84 innings. So if they shake that up, Allen is the likely starter tomorrow against Little Rock. You think they might be a little bit more careful with Little Rock after their postseason performance last year. But this is a very balanced Southern Miss rotation. So if you tell me that they're pitching their 1, the 2 and the 3 ain't far behind. The numbers
Jacksonville State's really good. We were both surprised they were not a number 2 seed. You got to put them up there. And Virginia comes in, and they're basically Duke North. They got their coach. He took their 7 top players. He took their top signees as well. So that's why Duke finished near the bottom of the league in the ACC this year. But finished with a losing record in the ACC, but capable team as well. But Jacksonville State, the Southern Miss and Jacksonville State have a lot of crossover opponents this year.
Moving to the Gainesville Regional, which is matched up with the Southern Miss Regional. They're rattling sabers down there like they're going to throw Aiden King tomorrow. I just don't buy it.
I don't either.
Against Ryder. With Miami looming on the other side of that, I think they're going to throw Liam Peterson. Don't let the 3-5 record fool you. His last 2 starts against LSU and Alabama, he gave up 2 earned runs in 12 innings, 19 strikeouts and a walk. He's got big wins this year against Auburn. He threw 7 one-run innings at Georgia. One of the more impressive performances this season against those Bulldogs. And he was a Friday night guy last year. So I understand you're holding the SEC pitcher of the year, but the guy you're throwing ain't chopped liver. Peterson's plenty good enough. In fact, I would consider holding both of them against Ryder. But I think I'll be surprised if you see Aiden King tomorrow for Florida. You see Peterson, they're still a massive, massive favorite. If Sully decides to pitch down even further than that, I still think they're going to win. We did North Carolina. Let's move down to the College Station Regional, Texas A&M. I have no idea who they're going to start. They were hoping to get Aiden Sims back. He hadn't pitched since May 9th. He was pitching in a weekend role for them at that point, but they didn't get a chance to get him in the SEC tournament when they got knocked out. So he threw a very good bullpen the other day. They say he threw 5 innings against A&M's hitters and looked good. I would imagine that they're going to hold him for the Saturday start. They could throw Shane Sadeo. He was the number 1 starter in 8 games for the SEC season, but his ERA was well over 5, and I mean he just got hammered in some of those things. So what Michael Early did in the last 2 weeks was he put an opener in front of him, Ethan Darden. He didn't pitch particularly well either. He gave up a run an inning. A&M's given up 8 runs a game over their last 7 games. So I don't know who's going to start against Lamar. I really don't. A&M's frontline pitching just has not been very good. It's a huge offensive club, but I don't know who's going to start.
Well, one of their more trusted pitchers over the last couple of years has been Sadeo, and he's been a disaster in their Friday night roles. So they've had to out-slug their opponents, and they can do that. They can do it. So, the pitching rotation is not as nearly as important like you talked about Florida with King, and I'm with you 100%. I'll be shocked if Sully throws him and uses him up against Ryder.
In Nebraska has confirmed Carson Jace, who is their ace, 9-2, 3.76 ERA against South Dakota State. I thought they might hold him for Ole Miss or Arizona State. This is a fairly deep regional with a power conference team as a 3 seed, but Nebraska has confirmed that they'll throw Carson Jace, 9-2, 3.76 ERA against South Dakota State.
What do you think about them? Some people see it overseeded. I mean, we talk about the Big Ten carrying a big stick when we're talking about college football. In baseball, it's not the case. I mean, it's UCLA, Oregon, USC, some of the top teams, from the – and then Nebraska. I want to tell you one thing about them, though. They fielded very clean in the field, very high fielded percentage. And listen, they'll have a monster crowd for that Lincoln Regional. But I think this is I like where Auburn sits matched up with this one. If they advance to the Super, Nebraska, I would give Ole Miss more of a chance going into Auburn than Nebraska.
I don't think Nebraska's overseeded. Here's why. They're 10 RPI. They've got 17 Q1 and Q2 wins. That's right there with just about everybody else. That fielding percentage leads the nation. 985.
My eyeballs tell me they're very clean in the field.
You're fine there. Their strength of schedule is 43. Some of the losses, they lost 2 at Auburn.
They
lost 2 at Oregon.
I don't see a whole lot of punch in their lineup, Charlie.
Well, they may not be great offensively, but they were top 5 in ERA and WHIP in the Big Ten. They led the Big Ten in batting average at .312.
Okay.
But they were 5th in runs scored. They don't hit a lot of home runs, but they get on base a lot. What I love about them in this regional is they were 23-1 at home, man, and they haven't hosted a regional there since 2008. This is a massive home field advantage for Nebraska. So I think they get out of this thing.
Bianco, veteran coach. He's had a ton of teams. He'll have his team ready. I think, Arizona State's capable now.
They are.
They're decent, We know
that they're going to have to throw Hunter Elliott against Arizona State.
No, they are.
Yeah,
they are. Yes,
I think this lines up well.
Arizona State's got a good veteran pitcher throwing in that game, too.
They do.
So that's the advantage in Nebraska. They've let those two battle it out for sure. Go extra innings, if you will.
Yeah. Auburn, just to wrap up this side of the bracket.
NC State lucky to get in.
Yeah. They were, after losing the first game of the ACC tournament, they were really on the bubble. They had to sweat a lot. If this had fallen a different way, they might not have got in.
We've seen stronger Central Florida teams in this.
Very much so. Auburn's got a great problem to have. They've got 4 guys who were all in the top 7 in the ERA in the SEC. The last time a team had that many pitchers in the top 10 in the SEC and ERA was 2002. It's LSU. Actually, it wasn't even one of LSU's World Series teams. It was 2002. So they've got 4 guys that are all very capable. It looks like they're going to throw Jake Marciano, who's been throwing in the opening game the last couple of weeks for them. They could throw Andreas Alvarez. Their numbers are very, very similar. I think it's going to be Marciano, but Auburn's got a lot of good choices here. They're heavy favorites in that region.
NC State making a return trip to Auburn for the regional. They made it to the finals where Auburn beat them before they lost at home in the Super Regional.
Really like Auburn's balance. They've got great frontline pitching. They've got a really balanced offensive line. The one thing, they don't hit a lot of home runs, which I think benefits them if they get to Omaha. But they're a very good fielding team. Top 3 in the SEC there. That's a really good experience.
There's
team.
A lot of balance to their team. They're not line up heavy. They're not pitching heavy. And they lost 2 out of 3 at home to Georgia the last series. Before that, they had won how many SEC series in a row?
5 in a row. 5 in a row.
So and Bub Terrell, his power will translate to all fields. But I like their draw. I think they got a little bit of a benefit of the doubt, getting the 4 seed instead of the 5. And should they advance to Omaha, they're not they wouldn't have to play UCLA, Florida. They wouldn't have to play UCLA with their ace. They wouldn't have to face Aiden King. I like where it's set up. I think they're going to make it take that next step this year and make it to Omaha.
Veteran coach Butch Thompson, and the reason I think they got the benefit of the doubt, number 1 strength of schedule in the country.
Yeah. So they, you mentioned that West Virginia, Binghamton, Charlie. Binghamton's got one of the top 3 or 4 most expensive stadiums.
You know why?
An anonymous donor for $60 million.
I thought it was 80. I heard it was 82.
60.
Okay. Yeah. I knew it was big.
Need one of those, huh?
Yeah.
The high point of college baseball. Right
yes. Very much so. But I mean, state of the.
I've seen the pictures.
The tiered berms, the seating, the souvenir shop or the merchandise shop.
If it had more seats, it would fit right in any SEC.
Tony Kornheiser donated it.
Tony got some cheese. I don't think he got that much cheese.
I don't think so. Fertitta? Is he on?
He got plenty cheese. He's buying casinos today.
Yes, he is. Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Your homeowners association requires wood windows like mine. You got to give Relief Windows a call. Check out all their inventory at ReliefWindows.com. 288-8138, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com.
Do the other side of the bracket when we come back in our NCAA tournament preview here at Bally's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch from Bally's Casino and Sportsbook on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Also brought to you by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff have done a fantastic job for our family over the years. So if you've got back pain, neck pain, muscle soreness, things that are aching, things that are keeping you from getting a good night's sleep or restricting your motion a little bit, let them target those problem areas and get you to feeling better. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla. Whether it's just a program of exercises and stretches that'll loosen things up, or you graduate into a dry needle, electric nerve stimulation, cryo, or ultrasound therapy. Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. All right, let's move to the other side of the bracket here, and we'll start up with Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is leaning towards saving their ace, Tate McKee, and going with Carson Ballard. Again, Ballard's numbers are actually a little bit better. He's 7-0 with an ERA of 3.46. McKee, who's been running lead for them, is 8-1 with an ERA of 4.06. And their third pitcher, Jackson Blakeney, is got a 2.79 ERA, throwing mostly on Sundays. So it's not going to make a whole lot of difference with Georgia Tech. They've got the lowest rated 4 seed in the field in Illinois, Chicago. That one will be easy. I've told you all year that I think that Oklahoma is overrated, Jimmy. I don't know much about the Citadel, but I did watch Georgia Tech in that ACC tournament. I will be shocked if they are even remotely tested in this region.
Yeah, no, and who they matched up with the Super? Should they advance?
Kansas.
Number 2, and we don't think Kansas is going to come out of their own regional. So highly favored to make it all the way to Omaha. Very deserving of their number 2 seed. Another one of those where, it was the SEC, it was the ACC, it was the Big 12, it was Conference USA, it was Sun Belt, the regular season champ, the Big 10 also won their conference tournament. So really just strengthened their resumes, and Georgia Tech was not even challenged. Charlie, they went up to Chestnut Hill late in the season too, and they were like, it was just like the run line was basically a pick, like 1.5, 2.5 runs. They scored 15 runs a game like it's nothing. They had set a record this year with their amount of home runs that they hit, and they got I think he bats clean, a big catcher, man, that nobody even runs against him. They have a decent percentage, stolen base percentage, but they don't even run on him, man. They look really the part in Atlanta. So I think a little bit, Jordan, not quite as part dependent on some of their hitting statistics.
Yeah, if UCLA's ace Redeman doesn't throw at all, I think Georgia Tech has the easiest time out of everybody this week. And maybe even if Redeman does throw, because he's going to be limited in what he can do. I think Georgia Tech should be the biggest favorite of all of the. I know they're not, but they should be the biggest favorite of any of these.
UCLA and Georgia Tech each minus 300 to make the World Series.
Okay, and that's accurate. That's accurate. Kansas is throwing their ace, Dominic Vogel, 5-3 with an ERA. You ready for this, Jimmy? He's the ace. ERA 6.01. The word out of Fayetteville is that Van Horn is going to throw 100 deets for Arkansas against Missouri State. I was kind of wondering, it's not confirmed yet, but that's what it looks like. One of the Arkansas sites is reporting that he's going to throw deets tomorrow. I was wondering if he might save the big guy because their pitching does drop off. I don't know what they're going to do with Gabe Gackle, if they're going to run him out of the bullpen. They're going to try to start him in game 2. But I was thinking that if Van Horn wanted to roll the dice and see if he could beat Missouri State without throwing 100 beats and throw him in the – but you're taking a chance. You're taking a chance. I get it.
Well, does he have a memory?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it was Arkansas's got some postseason disappointment memories, right?
They do.
Well, one of them was when Missouri State went to Fayetteville and beat them.
That's right.
About 10 years ago.
I had forgotten about that.
The other thing is, Max, what's that line, an individual line? It's pretty low for an SEC number 2 seed versus a mid-major. I mean, it's about $1.60, $1.55, something like that.
$1.75 here at Bally.
And that's going up. So there's some respect for Missouri State here. This is not some – I don't think this is a candidate for you to pitch down and get cute.
I'll take.
Dietz has had some. He's a little injured right now. But he's supposed to be okay.
Yeah, I'll take him against Missouri State at $1.75. I would lay that number. I wouldn't lay $2, but I'd lay $1.75 if I know for sure Dietz is going to pitch, which right now I don't. But it looks like it.
But a little bit of respect for Missouri State, and also there's some history there.
Yeah. Let's move down to Tallahassee, where Florida State. Link Jarrett, since he came over from Notre Dame, has saved his ace every time that they have hosted. St. John's, though, the 4 seed there, won the Big East. Okay, so we'll see.
They won the regular season too?
They won the regular season title. Yeah, I don't know if they won.
They beat Creighton in the final.
Okay.
Of the tournament.
Okay, yeah, they won.
I mean, it's Villanova, Butler, baseball. I mean, it's. UConn. I mean, it's right. Pretty. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, let me check here real quick if they won.
Marquette. Do they have a baseball team?
They tied. They do not. I mean, they were tri-champions in the regular season. Three teams with the same.
Creighton was one of them.
I
would think
no.
So.
Creighton was in Creighton. UConn and Xavier, and then Creighton was behind them. St. John's actually had the lowest RPI to all of them, but they won the tournament.
Big year for Cincinnati college baseball.
They're Cincinnati.
Tri-champion. They got it at large. The Bearcats did. And Xavier out of Cincinnati.
Connecticut. Did I say
you said Connecticut, Cincinnati, and St. John's were regular season champions.
Well, I should have said Connecticut, St. John's, and Xavier.
You said Xavier. Xavier is in Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. It's all right.
I thought you
We'll
were talking
move
about
on.
the Cincinnati
It's fine.
Bearcats.
No, I'll slow it down.
I got a lot of numbers. I'm trying to juggle here. Wes Mendez is the ACC Pitcher of the Year. That's Florida State's ace. They've got two guys right behind him. Florida State was able to go 1-2-3 all through the conference season. Number 2 pitcher's got an ERA of 3.88. Number 3 pitcher's got an ERA of 4.78. I suspect Link Jarrett will pitch down against St. John's tomorrow.
Well, that's not the big story when you talk about Florida State's baseball team this year. Their top hitter this year, Miles Bailey, out for the season. A lower leg injury, and it took him a little time to steady, but they have improved. They kind of recovered from it, but he was by far their best hitter in their lineup, and out for the season with an injury during a series against Duke earlier in conference play.
All right, Alabama, their regional, they open with Alabama State, one of the lowest rated 4 seeds. Looks like they're going to throw freshman Miles Upchurch and save Tyler Fay, who, by the way, got roughed up in his last 2 outings.
Florida did that. To a few teams.
Yeah. They could go with Zane Adams, who is their number 2 pitcher, who is the veteran, but it looks like Miles Upchurch is going to get the start for Alabama against Alabama State. That is the Tuscaloosa regional matchup with Florida State. Texas, as we move forward, again, I think Schlossnagel's got one of the easier calls here. He can throw his Sunday guy, Luke Harrison, 5th-year senior, 4.62 ERA against Holy Cross, and save Dylan Valanis for UC Santa Barbara, who's, you said that earlier, has got to throw their ace against Tarleton State, or is going to throw their ace against Tarleton State.
Jackson Fiora.
Yeah. So
number 1 ERA in the country.
Pretty easy call that Schlossnagel can go with the big veteran Harrison in Game 1 and save Valanis for Game 2. In Eugene, Oregon apparently will throw ace Will Stafford in the first game against Yale. Again, they've got a very balanced rotation. But the strength of Oregon, they've probably got the best bullpen in the field. They've got 5 guys who've thrown between 22 and 49 innings. So if Sanford goes tomorrow, he's averaged less than 5 innings pitched in his last 5 starts, and most of their starters are like that. They're very, very bullpen dominant. Or the Ducks, and they can swing it. So probably Stanford tomorrow for them, but the bullpen is the strength there.
Everybody, what's good, Max?
They've got to be careful. They've got the second hardest regional, according to the odds, in terms of the back end. Washington State is 14-1. Yale's 11-1. Those are the 3 and 4 seeds. So the market is respecting the back end of that regional more than most.
And I think that Oregon State and Oregon played twice in the regular season. They split. They both won on their home fields. Oregon 23-5 at home this season, I think, is why I give them the edge. But, yes, it's a lot better 3 and 4 than in some of these other places.
Oregon State, without one of their hard throwers, a guy gets up in a triple digits, pretty good. He's out for the season. But you mentioned Charlie, talk about Oregon. So everybody, when they talk about Oregon, they talk about, man, they look good getting off the bus. Like, that's a big guys, big looking guys. But this is the same team. Maybe it's because the Park in the Big Ten championship, first inning, no score, bottom of the first 2 runners on. The number 3 hitter, he's bunting. He actually bunted the 3rd strike foul into so a lot of small ball for a team that looked so good off the bench. Was that just playing to the dimensions of the Park in Omaha, or is that something they like to do?
All right, last 2 real quick here. Mississippi State will not throw Tomas Valenkas. They're deciding between Ryan McPherson, who started the season as their Friday night guy and then missed 7 weeks in the middle of the season. He's come back with a couple of short outings. They could start him, or they could start Duke Stone, who's been their number 2 guy all season long. He's been roughed up his last 2 weeks. The ERA is all the way up to 5.69. I'm thinking McPherson there against Lipscomb. And then Georgia against Long Island, one of the lower-rated RPI teams of the 4 seeds. They're 199. They won 0 Q1 games all season. You know why? They didn't play any, and they're 0-3 against Q2. Wes Johnson hasn't tipped his hand at all. He's out of the worked down here with Jay Johnson. He ain't saying nothing. I would be shocked if Joey Velasco does not get held for game number 2. Georgia's got about 5 guys that they could throw against Long Island tomorrow and be just fine. So I'm not expecting Volchko, but who they're going to throw is anybody's guess because Wes Johnson ain't saying nothing.
You mentioned that Florida run ruled Alabama in the SEC tournament. That's after being swept at home by Alabama during the regular season. This gives you an indication of how much better, how hot Florida is right now. They got more hits in that one game, in a shortened game, a run rule game, a shortened game, 16 hits, than they did in 3 games in the series earlier this year at home, 13 hits.
Yeah, Sully's got them peaking at the right time.
No doubt.
Sure. We'll take our final time out, come back here and wrap things up at Valley's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch from Bally's Casino and Sportsbook on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Texas Tech beat Mississippi State in the first game of the softball World Series. 8-0 run rule in 5 innings. And
you watching that game? I'm watching Vandy LSU.
Oh, yeah. I don't like LSU's chances in the second half very much.
This is football on ESPNU. We should clarify.
LSU's up 10-7 in the second.
If they lose this game, this might be the beginning of the end for Brian Kelly. I don't know.
Come on, Max. That's an overreaction.
You guys are quite the prognostic.
Relax, Max.
I don't know. I mean, Diego Pavi, are people going to accept him running all over LSU's defense? I don't know.
They're going to finish 6-6.
Yeah. I know we ran through a lot of information on the baseball stuff, but you want to get our picks on the Bet Rivers podcast.
Max, tell them where to find it.
Yes, College Sports Rush on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. They broke down all the regional games, some futures, some regional odds, and some games for tomorrow. So Jimmy and Charlie breaking it down. We'll be back next Tuesday as well for the Super Regionals. So College Sports Rush YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcast.
It's free.
It's right at 2 out of 3. Right at 2 out of 3, the hosts for the regional round advance. Right at 67%.
Yeah.
So just to give you an idea there. Can't
wait to start watching. We got good, and I'm glad we got good games to start tomorrow.
I can't remember the regular season champions winning so much of the conference tournaments. Now, Charlie, this is it's Georgia has how many teams have won the regular season championship, the tournament championship, and the World Series?
Out of the SEC, LSU did it in 2009, Vanderbilt did it in 2019, and I think that's it in the last 15 years, those 2 teams.
Oh, Rocket Top.
Tennessee did it. I forgot.
You good.
Forgot about
see,
24.
See, Max,
24.
Charlie's a number 1 seed when it comes to college baseball. You got 2 out of 3. You see? It's exactly 67%.
If I get 2 out of 3 all weekend with my picks, I'll be very happy guy come Monday.
Charlie, Max, give Charlie credit. I mean, he's been smoking on the podcast.
Been doing very good.
Very good.
Very well.
Very good.
All right.
Very profitable.
It's
been fun, man. It's just
it's going to be
just
weird
a
with
personal
LSU.
peeve of mine. It's hard for me to take some sports journalists seriously when they don't cover the sport, when they just forget about it when their team gets knocked out.
Yeah.
When their local team they cover. That's just my first peeve. I mean,
if everyone cares so much about college baseball, then you have to care about it when your team isn't in it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. You'll make a big deal out of it only when your team's
You can't tell everybody how important it is if you don't follow it when they don't.
It's like Knicks fans.
15 minutes to first pitch in Chicago. You like the pale hose?
White Sox, man. Their best pitcher's gone. He's outstanding. They are a fun team to watch. Yeah, rubber game tonight. They scored double-digit runs last night. Like them again. They're going in 10 minutes.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll be at Rufino's tomorrow. Stay tuned for Hunt, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.